So this literally happened to me earlier this morning. When you are as a trans woman and as somebody that primarily dates straight identified men, I've had this experience where whether I I'm just in a situationship with somebody, we're just hooking up, or we're seriously dating where the guy will make it very clear that even though we are having a good time or we're doing our thing, that their preference lies with cis women, and that there will come a time where whatever we are doing is going to come to an end because how I've heard it phrased is, well, at my core, I really like pussy. I'm always going like pussy, and this is fun, but the time will be up on this, and I'm gonna go back to what I know. Being a 37-year-old woman now and just having had so many experiences, basically what that is us being in a culture of heteronormativity, a little bit of sexism mixed up in there. But when people are conditioned, when everybody is conditioned to be straight, um, people want to perform and people want to play their part. And I've had conversations with my good sis Diamond Styles. Um, we have to know that cis men also have a biological clock. Is that age like in the 30s to like the early 40s range, where if a cis man, especially a black cis man, has not had kids, they're probably thinking about having kids, having a wife, having that picture perfect cookie cutter lifestyle. And I've seen a lot of situations with trans women who have been partnered to cis men or who are messing around with cis men. um, the cis man will either cheat on them with the cis woman, or something will happen where if you're hooking up with a guy, he'll go missing and then he'll come around and pop up with, "Oh, I have a kid now." Because everybody is under this patriarchy, everybody is pressured to perform, and even men are pressured to perform. And when guys used to tell me that, particularly when I was in my 20s and I wasn't as self assured in my transness and my position in the world, that used to really like impact me or really affect me. Because then you have the conversations of, well, I was not good enough, I wasn't woman enough, and I'm not. Uh, what am I not doing, or why does he feel like he could just tell me that? Because some guys would tell me that, oh, I like you and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be with a real woman. Like they would tell you that at the beginning of the interaction. It doesn't happen to me as much, but it's something that I vividly remember from my 20s. Um, but I have lived life long enough to know that all of that perfect family and kid, it's a trap. And commonly what happens is I've had a lot of men who have like put me on ice or ghost me because they wanted to go get the real thing and have their family and have their kids, and hey, you free to do that. But they go over there and get it, and it's not as fulfilling as they thought it would be. You have the White House, the picket fence, and the kids, but you had that itch comes back up again. And I've lived long enough to know that even even if a man is leaving for the reasons that he's saying, if you are trans attracted, if you are trans amorous, if you like titties at the top and dick at the bottom, like that itch is not going to go away. That desire is not going to go away just because you want to partner with a cis woman and get the societal rewards and perform with a cis woman. Like those things don't go away. And commonly what happens is it'll be some type of late night, or it'll be something where there'll be a couple of months later if the relationship falls apart, or if it stays together, it'll be a couple of years later. Something will happen, and the guy will ultimately circle back around, and then you sit and you talk to them, and they realize that the things that you're supposed to have under patriarchy, they're not fulfilling. Especially if you know that you like trans women and you got a little queerness in you, and you really don't have the fullness to be yourself, and then you try to circle back around and have these revelations. Now, how I handle it. So, what prompted this conversation is I had this guy who I used to date back in the day. I broke up with him, and then I went through the feelings of rage or whatever, and I got over it. But I have been hooking up with him for the past couple of months. We've crossed paths in different spaces, and we hooked up because at the bottom line, I feel comfortable with him. I like having sex with him, and I feel safe with him. So we were hooking up, and we just randomly text each other, and I texted him last night, just having a conversation. And I most recently saw him in April, and I told him I missed him, and he said, "Oh, I miss you too." And then a minute later, he's like, "Oh, I just want to let you know I'm in a serious relationship." And then I asked, "Is it open or is it monogamous?" And then 45 minutes later, he's like, "Oh, it's monogamous." Now, I think that's a lie. And I wanted to ask more questions, but since we weren't on a relationship thing, it was just sexual, and I knew it would expire at some point. I let it go, and I'm just the type of person that like I'm free with people walking away from me. To have whatever journey they have. It's no lost feelings. It's no hard feelings. But I did have other questions I wanted to know. I'm like, is this girl cis? Is this girl trans? Does she know that you're trans attracted? I just had a lot of other questions, but that's really not none of my business. But what I do know about this particular person and other men like them, everybody, men are under that biological clock. This person doesn't have any kids, and because of this connection that me and this person has, I know it's only a matter of time before they come back around, especially if they're with us or something. Because like I said, once you have it in you to like trans women, that itch just doesn't go away. Now, I'm very I do it on a case by case basis because a lot of men can have that conversation in a way that is dehumanizing, and basically I'm made left to feel like I'm just this disposable object. I literally had another situation should basically tell me, "Well, I'm gonna have fun with you for the rest of the summer, but I'm gonna get me a wife and do the right thing." So I instantly blocked them there. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm having this conversation to say, and this kind of ties back into the video I did a couple of days ago about um, owning my transness, being comfortable with being rejected, being comfortable with understanding that I'm not the ideal, especially if a man doesn't have it in his vision board to date or partner with a trans woman. That's fine. And like, to be truthfully honest, I'm not really looking to be married. That's not a vision I see for my life. A relationship would be nice, but I know those are not going to last forever. So I just know I'm bringing a lot of different stuff to the table. But I feel like cis men that are trans amorous have a duty to still treat us as human. Because I've experienced in ways where, because I was not the default, the men felt it gave them license to dehumanize me and not consider my feelings. If you know that this isn't where you want to be long term and you just want to have experiences, that's fine. But I think it's a way that you can communicate that without dehumanizing trans women, and in a world where we're already dehumanized and exploited and taken advantage of so much. So now, if the conversation happens like it did today, I'm free with letting you go to have your experience, but in the back of my mind, knowing that it's not going to be what you think it is, and you will be back. And based on how you ended things, I might be open to letting you back. And if it's just a situationship, the barrier is low. I don't mind hooking up for me. That it's not a big deal. But if you're trying to do circle back and do a relationship, you're gonna have to tell me, okay, how do you know this is what you want? Is this your default, or are you just trying to run game because you're masking it that you want a relationship now, but you really want to have access to me to sleep with me? This is very complex, very nuanced. This is a very long video, but it's okay for trans women not to be your default, but you still treat us like humans when you're going through that process, and when you're breaking it to us that this is not where you want to be, or you have an expiration date. I think it's a way to communicate that so that the woman can have a choice, if she wants to engage, whether she doesn't want to engage. We just I just feel like more of these conversations need to be brought out. But